Now from WCAX, it's Catamount Corner, home of the Catamounts. An inside look presented by Sticks and Stuff. Welcome to Catamount Corner.
Well, welcome back inside Catamount Corner. First episode here in calendar year 2026. And this time of year, it's always a busy one. Winter sports heating up and the spring sports, believe it or not, gearing up.
Yeah, believe it or not, seriously. We're starting off tonight with a look ahead at the men's and women's lacrosse seasons. The men's squad coming off a year where they just barely missed the conference tournament, something they know is not up to the program standard and something they're looking to reverse in 2026.
I mean, we all have a bad taste in our mouth after that. I can't remember the last time Vermont's not made it to the conference tournament.
It was back in 2017, head coach Chris Fife's first season in charge. Since then, Vermont has made it to 5 conference title games, winning 2 of them. And Fife said this team doesn't need a reminder of last year for the drive to get back to the top.
You know, it's pretty built in at this point. We don't have to talk about it. It's just how we work every day. The motivation is there, a lot of new faces, a lot of competition. Competition breeds success, and so we're not really focused on last season. We're just focused on being the best version of this team, and I think, you know, it's built in that, you know, we're not satisfied not competing for championships in this league, and we think we have the guys in the locker room to do so. We just got to be peaking at the right time of the year.
The Catamounts return a whole lot of production from last year's team, including 5 of the top 6 goal scorers and the top 8 guys in caused turnovers. Depth up and down the roster should help down the stretch of the season, but it's also helped them hit the ground running in the preseason.
I think it's just competition level. I think everyone knew coming into this year how deep the depth chart's going to be on both sides of the ball, even the goalie and face-off room. So I think it's just really increased our competition level throughout practices, throughout weight room, throughout the run test. Everyone's just competing every day to kind of be a better person than the guy next to them, and in turn, it's iron sharpens iron.
Of the players gone from last year is face-off specialist Henry Dodge, who transferred to Maryland. He won 71% of 210 face-offs last season. Expected to step into the primary role is an experienced Walter Zhao, who won just a tick under 70% of his 79 face-offs a year ago.
He's ready for it. He's got the skills. He's got the ability. Also, Rocco Boland is a phenomenal face-off guy to back him up and has a little bit of a different skill set. So I think they're a really good combination, the two of them. But Walter has some things that you can't teach. He's got incredible hand speed, and he's really dynamic after the face-off on loose balls and stuff. So I think this year he's going to do a great job of leading us, and we just got to help him out in the wings.
This team's senior and graduating class is twice as big as last year's, with the same number of juniors at 13. The Cats also have 5 captains this year compared to just 2 last year, helping accelerate the growth through the offseason.
We've been able to cover a lot of ground, and over the break, our accountability groups at every position have been led by our captains. So the guys have come back much more dialed. You saw that in the run test today, and the intensity of practice and enthusiasm has been super high.
It's key to have a bunch of seniors and juniors that have played here before and have been in these key roles, and then have freshmen playing under them to watch them play.
And as they hope to get back to the top of the league, they're using a we over me mentality to drive their season.
The emphasis on this year for this team is our team motto, team before self, and that just relies on togetherness. I mean, we have a lot of guys that are going to get a lot of playing time, so we need to rely on each other to pick up when you're having a bad day. The good guys that are, whoever's hot, they need to be in the field, and just really support each other, as it takes all of us to move on to May.
The UVM men set to open their season at Queens on February 13th, but the women will be in the same city just 6 days earlier.
Yeah, the UVM women begin their season at Charlotte on February 7th, and they're looking forward to what they expect to be a bounce-back campaign.
Yeah, I think, first of all, we're just a very motivated team this year. I think coming off of last year, the past 2 years with some disappointment there, and this team wants to get back to the conference championship and can bring home a championship ideally.
The UVM women's lacrosse team is champing at the bit to get their 2026 campaign started. After 3 straight trips to the conference tournament, including an American East title in 2022, the Cats have fallen short of the postseason each of the past 2 years.
Yeah, it's definitely a huge motivator. Any games that we've lost are always sort of looked at as a learning experience for us, and just all of that has been able to fuel this season ahead.
But there's a lot of optimism around this group. The Cats returned 6 of their 7 leading scorers from a year ago. They also bring back preseason all-conference defender Sabine Goodwin and starting goalie Anna Rosenberger.
Yeah, I think we're all just super excited to get back out here there's a lot of returners from last year, so just kind of like building off of last year and like what we've done in the fall. We had a great fall, so just being able to like kind of put everything together now in the spring and just be outside, we're all super excited.
But they will also return attacker Jane Trauger, who scored 66 goals as an underclassman before missing her junior year due to injury.
I've been super excited for the spring. I think that I just wanted to take the summer to get all my rehab done and get in the best shape possible and be there for my teammates in the spring.
The Cats are excited about their younger players, but this 2026 group is going to go as far as the upperclassmen take them. Vermont has 11 fourth and fifth year players on this roster, and head coach Sarah Dalton-Graddick will be leaning on their leadership this spring.
They're solid, honestly. I think we have 4 phenomenal captains leading us, from our 5th year in Maddie, and then we have our 2 seniors with Jane and Lindsay, and then a junior in Sabine. And I think that they're together collectively complement each other really well, but then surrounding them. You know, we have great 5th years, great seniors, and a really strong junior class that obviously has seen a lot of playing time, but now they're just upperclassmen, and they have the field experience, but they really bring a lot of energy to our group.
Vermont's schedule should be a lot of fun. After a pair of roadies, UVM will play 6 straight non-con games in Burlington between February 17th and March 11th, when that Virtue Field home field advantage should be at its most potent.
Yeah, we're excited for it. I mean, we came to Vermont for a reason. We want to play in the snow. We like playing in the cold. Doesn't really affect us too bad, except when the field is frozen in ice and we can't really run on it. So we're excited for it. We're used to it, and we're just ready to play.
The Cats have a good bit to get sorted out before the opener, but they're looking forward to getting back to their winning ways this season.
I can't wait, and I know the team feels the exact same way. Going on the road is always is a lot of fun. A flight, you know, I think those things can make those things special. I think it's good bonding time that we get to have together. We get them away from campus. Hopefully it's a little bit warmer down in North Carolina for that first game. But I'm excited to see, you know, what we have in that moment and then getting better every single day after that.
Well, the 2026 Winter Olympics just over 2 weeks away in Milan and Cortina, Italy, and the UVM women's hockey program will be well represented. The Cats are going to have to make do without senior forward Julia Mespled in their stretch run as she's headed to her first games with Team France. 2022 bronze medal winner and former Catamount defender Siini Karjalainen headed back to the Olympics with Team Finland, and one of Vermont's all-time greats will return as well. Natalie Malinkova hoping to get on the podium with her Czech team. It's a great showcase for the Catamounts to be so well represented over in Italy.
Yeah, obviously a huge privilege. That's the best call you can ever get, and just be called up for the Olympics. So it's definitely in the back of our heads, and we are super excited. Close to home, so family is going to be able to come. So that's going to be a big moment for us, for our country in general, and hopefully we'll be able to compete for a medal.
I'm super proud. Kind of thought all along that Nat would be there, and Julia has been with the national team for quite a while, even though it was somewhat of a surprise that France got in at the last minute there. But I think, for me personally, like Siini being selected after not having been on the national team for the last couple of years really made me happy. A wonderful human being and good player, and like when good things happen to good people.
Well, the UVM ski team will have at least a couple alumni headed to Italy as well. 2019 grad Paula Moltzen has earned a spot on the alpine side of things for Team USA. The Minnesota native turned full-time Vermonter has been tearing it up on the World Cup circuit this winter with 3 podiums, including a second-place finish just last week over in Austria. She's expected to compete in both slalom and GS. Margie Freed, formerly of the UVM Nordic squad, will be there as well, but she's going to do so with a rifle on her shoulder. She is a member of the U.S. biathlon team. All right, coming up, we will go around the horn to check in on UVM's current winter sports season.
And later, we will sit down with new men's soccer coach Adrian Dubois. Stick with us. Welcome back. Late January, always busy in Catamount country with all the winter teams in action.
Yeah, quite a few Catamount teams have really hit their stride just recently. Let's go around the horn and check in with those squads. UVM men's hoops team, they're coming off a road loss to UAlbany on Monday to put a halt to their 3-game winning streak to kick off conference play. Vermont opening the calendar year with a dominant win at UNH before finding ways down the stretch to survive against Binghamton and Maine at Patrick Gym. That, of course, before Monday's defeat against the Great Danes. The Cats are one of 5 teams with a single loss in America East play. They're tied for second in the conference right now. They're going to travel to face Lowell tomorrow for an early chance to separate themselves from the Riverhawks in that 4-way tie.
The women's hoops team responded to their lone conference loss at Binghamton up to this point with back-to-back wins, one at Maine and the other over the weekend hosting UAlbany. The Catamounts and Bearcats each 4-1 atop the conference as Vermont prepares for a morning tip in the Catamount Classroom game coming up on Thursday. That will be the second of 3 straight home games after 3 of the Cats' first 4 conference contests came on the road, with that lone home game coming just 48 hours after playing in Arno. And they're looking forward to playing in front of their home crowd a little more often.
Once again, super excited to be at home. We've been away for quite some games now, and just feeding off of that energy the way we know we can.
The men's hockey team has really turned a corner since we turned the calendars to 2026. Vermont 4-1 in that time, including 3 wins over ranked opponents, the most recent of which coming over the weekend in a 4-2 victory at number 11 UConn. Colin Kessler bearing his first and second goals of the season on Saturday, getting that monkey off his back after dishing out 13 assists so far this year. Vermont scored at least 3 goals for the 5th time in their last 6 outings. The Cats have propelled themselves into 7th place for the time being. They are just 2 points removed, though, from 10th in a jam-packed Hockey East. They're going to welcome UMass this weekend, who is one of 3 teams just a single point behind Vermont.
The women's hockey team, they're also on a roll. The Cats unbeaten in the new year. That is 6 straight contests with 4 wins and a pair of shootout victories. Vermont downed Maine this past weekend with one of those shootout wins and an overtime dub thanks to Ashley Kokovec's game winner on Saturday. The Cats have catapulted right into the mix in the middle of the conference, which is just as crowded as it is on the men's side. Vermont tied with Maine in 7th and just 3 points separated from 5th and 9th place in the league. All in all, they're playing their best hockey of the season right now with 3 straight series against those 5th and 9th place teams on tap.
We've never really let outside opinions deter us. And so now that we're actually seeing those results on the ice and we're kind of showing everyone else in our league, in the country, what we're capable of, it feels really good to know that what we've known all along is finally getting put on display and getting the recognition it deserves.
The ski team wrapped up the Colby Carnival over the weekend, taking a 3rd place finish behind Dartmouth and UNH. Up next, the Alpine teams are going to wrap up the split St. Lawrence Carnival Thursday and Friday over at Whiteface. The Cats in 1st place after the Nordic races earlier this month.
Swimming and diving team returned this past weekend after a lengthy break from team competition for a pair of meets down in Rhode Island and Connecticut. The Catamounts downed URI in a close one on Saturday before falling to UConn on Sunday. They return home this weekend at 1 p.m. when they host Siena for Senior Day.
The indoor track and field team fresh off the Middlebury Classic. They picked up 7 individual victories. Alex Beal continuing her impressive season. The next 2 meets for the Cats will be in Massachusetts.
All right, coming up next, we meet 3 players on the UVM women's hockey team who spent time as teammates and opponents growing up in Minnesota.
Welcome back. The UVM women's hockey team has a handful of players from Minnesota, but a few of them had experience playing together on the ice before coming to Vermont.
Yeah, Josie Hemp, Stella Rettram, and Lauren O'Hara all transferred into UVM. Josie 2 years ago, Stella and Lauren this past year. They spent time as teammates and opponents growing up around the Twin Cities and are enjoying being on the same team now as Catamounts.
Do you have any memories of playing against each other, any of you?
I would say Minnesota 04s and 05s because they were both on the 05 team and I was on the 4 team, so that was a big thing for us, so that was always fun to play against them.
Yeah, every year of high school we would play each other in the section final. So we had a big rivalry. We split 2-2 in our 4 years of high school.
Back and forth.
But that was always fun to have such a big rivalry against each other. It was nice.
Yeah.
People that aren't from Minnesota can't quite understand what the hockey culture is like from when you're little all the way growing up. Just what was it like growing up in it, and when did you first start to lace up your skates and play?
I started when I was about 3 years old, and I feel like Minnesota being the state of hockey, you have access to any rink, and I feel like it's such a small hockey world in Minnesota, so you pretty much know everyone, so it's really fun and a really good environment in Minnesota.
Yeah, I'd say it started probably around the same age. My dad was really into hockey when he was a kid too, so being the firstborn, he kind of just put me in it. And yeah, I mean, it's so different when you leave Minnesota and you realize not everyone has a hockey rink in their hometown, and some of us don't really have to drive far to get on the ice in the summer, which is we're really grateful for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was probably about 5 years old, I'd say. I feel like there's nothing like Minnesota hockey, backyard rinks, stuff like that. And the state tournament was something that was really special to get to play at the X. And I played Josie my senior year at the X Minnetonka, so it's a lot of fun.
What happened in that game?
It was a close game.
It was really close. Yeah, they almost beat us. Yeah, in the quarterfinals.
They scored probably like a minute left.
Yeah, it was a crazy.
It was a good game.
Yeah.
What's it like to sort of represent the state this far away and play together again?
It's amazing. Like, I honestly didn't think the culture could get much better, but these two have brought so much to the table, and I'm like overjoyed to be playing with them again. Like, it's so much fun.
Yeah, I hated playing against Stella in high school, but it's really fun to be playing with her now.
Yeah, how do you go from playing against each other in high school, and I guess you guys said developed a little bit of a rivalry between your two teams. What was it like sort of going from that to teammates?
I think like every summer team we were ever on, we were always on the same line. So it was like always fun that we would like play together all summer and then compete all like winter and fall. I think that like it definitely pushed me to like become better when I always like knew that she was getting better too, and we'd come and play in the summer together, and it was just fun.
Josie, you committed here first. What sort of sold you on Vermont to venture this far away from home?
I would say what sold me was definitely the coaching staff. Like, my calls with them they were like amazing. Like, my connection was instant, and I feel like Coach Jim, like, he knew my game when like each call and like studied my game. So I like really appreciated that, and kind of just made me feel confident. So and obviously like I love the school. The culture is amazing. Like, the people are awesome, and I know like Anna Podine, I knew her before because she has played with my sister before, and we're like family friends. So she reached out to me a lot throughout the process, and she was like the best help.
Did you guys reach out to her when you were sort of exploring your options, or what was step one?
Yeah, I think like the day I entered the portal, I like talked to Josie, and she was like, you have to come visit, or at least like talk to the coaches, like you would really like enjoy it here, which was just so nice to like have like someone who felt so comfortable where they are and like wants you to be a part of that. I think that's really special.
Yeah, I talked to Josie and Stella because she committed here before me, but I was just asking them questions, and I could tell how much they loved it here, so I wanted to be a part of that.
All right, coming up next, I'll sit down with new men's soccer head coach Adrienne Dubois. Stick with us.
Welcome back. The UVM men's soccer team, of course, welcomed in a new head coach back in December.
Yeah, and Adrienne Dubois and the Cats are already hard at work preparing for next fall. We sat down with the new man in charge to get a gauge on how the Dubois era is going so far. Adrienne, it's been about 3 weeks or so since you were named the next head coach of the UVM men's soccer program. What has the process been like over that period of time, starting to put together a staff, figure out what your roster is going to look like, and get this team best situated for the spring semester coming up here in just a couple weeks?
Yeah, good question. One, it's been exciting. It's been fun. I've really enjoyed myself this first 3 weeks. Obviously, the transition that our family's going through, moving, is tough, but the job itself has been a blast. Been challenging too, though. So the main focus has been player retention, right? Trying to make sure we're keeping our best guys, because we have such a good foundation here with players.
Who are some of the players that you've been able to retain here?
Nick Hersig, he's coming back, the goalkeeper All-American. He's been outstanding, the heart and soul of the team for the last couple of years. And then on top of that, we got David Ishmael here. He's been training really, really well. Some of the other guys, John Luca, we got TJ LaCourie, we got Gabe Chavez, some of these like staple, foundational, I call them cultural carrier guys that know how to win, that love and breathe the air here, that like just are perfect fits.
Who are some of the players that you've brought in so far?
Yes, we've added 4 guys. We've added a German NAIA first-team All-American forward who had an excellent career at his previous school. I added Division II first-team All-American from Oregon, who's very special on the ball. We brought in an all-region NAIA outside back. And then the last one is a transfer from Xavier, but he was on the U19 Revs team from a couple years ago that won the national championship.
You mentioned that you're kind of starting to figure out what your staff is going to look like. Is there anybody that has signed on just yet?
The second assistant coach, Rory Toomey, stayed on staff. He has been absolutely unbelievable. Just to keep his feet in the ground here and keep the day-to-day operations going while I was coming back and forth and working remotely. I coached Rory back when I was a Division III head coach in Maine, and and I'm just glad he's still here hanging around and wants to keep this flying. We signed on a goalkeeper coach that we're excited about. His name is Edgar Vargas. If you remember the name, he was the captain 2 seasons ago. Great career here. You know, we verbally have got an associate head coach that's got a fantastic resume.
What do you feel like your time away from this program did to make you better prepared, more prepared to take over a program of this stature?
Like everybody else, right? We go on these journeys and they're hard and they're beneficial, and you know, we're learning from new people, new mentors, and meeting new players and different styles. And I thought the head coach at San Jose State did an absolute incredible job at being effective, efficient in what he does to run a high-end program, and that's something that I'm excited to implement here, is just making sure that we're working our butts off, no doubt, but make sure we're being really efficient about it. Coaching across the country and recognizing the styles from the West, the new recruiting networks and connections I have in the West just opens up a lot more doors to potentially make this program even better.
What are some of the things, aside from the logistical challenges, do you feel like this group needs to do in order to put itself in the best position come fall to be able to go out there and compete?
We just got to stay true to this identity, man. Again, I think that what Vermont soccer is all about, and why we've been so successful, is we will do things other programs won't do. We'll defend longer and harder and deeper. Our guys will run further and track back more. Our guys will do things that other programs won't do, and that's the identity of a Vermonter, of a New Englander, right? We're just gritty. We're gritty people, and I'm proud of that. We've got great athletes. We've got great players. We've got great talent. We've got all those things, but can we remain true to that identity of being the hardest working team in the country? Don't always have to be the most special and the most talented, but if we can be the closest and most hardworking team, we're always going to have a chance to be a championship squad.
Thanks so much for taking the time to join us, Adrian. Looking forward to seeing your team get back out there.
Thank you very much. It's been fun.
All right, great opportunity to sit down with Adrian and get to know him a little bit better. The next events we've got here in Catamount Country, well, close to Catamount Country at least. We've got giant slalom races over at the St. Lawrence Carnival. As we mentioned, those are going to be at Whiteface. We've also got that Catamount classroom game in the morning. Get your coffee for an 11 o'clock start, although I don't know how much we're going to need the coffee.
No,
with
the energy in there is always so much fun.
The men's team will also be playing tomorrow as they visit those UMass Lowell Riverhawks. All right, that'll do it here on Catamount Corner. Thanks so much for joining us. Keep it right here on WCX for all things you've